The RMS Titanic, the largest ship in the world at the time, began her maiden voyage from Southampton on the 10th of April 1912. For the city, this event was of huge importance. Southampton was a major port for the White Star Line, and the Titanic was a symbol of both local pride and economic opportunity. Southampton's connection to the Titanic was especially strong because of the crew. Out of roughly 900 crew members on board, around 720 were from Southampton, nearly 80%. These men and women worked in every role: sailors, engineers, stokers, stewards, waiters, cooks, and stewardesses. Many lived in the same neighborhoods, often in modest terraced houses near the docks. In some cases, entire families were represented on the ship, with brothers, fathers and sons serving together. Because of this, the Titanic was not just a famous liner sailing from the city, it was staffed and supported by Southampton's own people. When the Titanic struck an iceberg on the 14th of April and sank in the early hours of the 15th of April 1912, the loss to Southampton was devastating. Around two-thirds of the Southampton crew perished. The figures are stark. Over 540 households in the city lost at least one family member. In areas such as Northam, Chapel, and Fremantle, entire streets went into mourning. One street, Graham Road, became infamous because almost every house lost a man working on the ship. This was more than personal grief. Southampton's economy was badly affected. Many of the crew were the sole breadwinners for their families, and their sudden loss pushed households into hardship. Relief funds were set up to help widows and children, but poverty and struggle remained a long-term result for many. The disaster left a permanent mark on Southampton's history and identity. Public memorials were built to honor those lost, including monuments to the ship's engineers and musicians. The tragedy is remembered not only as an international maritime disaster, but also as Southampton's greatest local loss in peacetime. While the sinking of the Titanic is a global story, in Southampton it was a deeply personal tragedy. The ship sailed from its docks, was crewed by its citizens, and left behind an enduring scar on its history. The connection remains strong today, not only through museums and memorials, but through the knowledge that the disaster shaped generations of families in the city.
could see the water coming up the bridge like that, so I was sort of forced time to leave. So I was sat up to my knees in water then, I jumped up on the rail and dived into the water.
The bows went down first, the stern stuck up in the ocean floor. It seemed to me like almost like a long time ago it was. But it sort of started against the sky and then heeled over and went down.
My research said one of the sailors who was in the boat had a rope further out because of the suction of the Titanic.
You could hear the people screaming and thrashing about. And finally, the ghastly noise of the people thrashing about, screaming and drowning that fire on the sea.
When you had rid out the boat, you could see the lights going down, disappearing. Because it was as high as this building, you know, very high ship. And you could see our lights disappearing all the time, turning up to the borders, and the first terror and destruction. Creeping after the explosion, she went down. Slow, like that.
Their lights weren't there, and the cries
We sat there about 20 hours right through the night. We did do just
The inquiry is attempting to cut through the confusion of that terrible night. Were those in third class in steerage forgotten in the rush of training places in the lifeboats? John Hart, one of the stewards in third class, gives evidence.
About how many
third-class passengers had you in your sections altogether?
Somewhere about 58. 9 were men.
Can you help us fix the time when the order was given to pass the third-class women and children up to the boat deck?
The vessel struck, I believe, at 11:40. It must have been 3 parts of an hour before the word was passed down to me.
This would be about 12:30.
Yes, it would be.
In order that your third-class women and children should get up to the boat deck, they would have to mount a number of decks and go up a number of stairs. You led them.
I went ahead of them.
At that time, were there any barriers that at ordinary times are closed, but they were open?
There were barriers that at ordinary times are closed, but they were open.
So, where did you take the passengers to?
I took them to the only boat that was left then, boat number 15.
Now, this is an important point. You say the only boat that was left.
I could see.
Was there room for them in it?
Yes, they were placed in it.
Did you see anyone keeping the third-class passengers back so as to prevent them getting to the boat deck?
No, my lord.
So, according to you, all the women and children who were taken up and who wanted to escape could have done so.
I do not doubt that for a moment.
Can you explain how it was, that being so, that 55% of the women of the third class were drowned?
I cannot account for it. No, sir.
Despite the fact that no third-class passengers were called as witnesses, the inquiry concludes that every soul on the Titanic had an equal chance of survival.
It had been suggested before the inquiry that the third-class passengers had been unfairly treated, that their access to the boat deck had been impeded, and that when at last they reached that deck, the first and second-class passengers were given precedence in getting places in the boats. There appears to have been no proof in these suggestions.